evening, everyone. It is so wonderful to be back with all of you here in this gigantic space and beautiful space. We are happy to be gathering tonight as a community to celebrate all of you. Our biggest fundraisers, our returning and new sponsors, and our incredible donors and volunteers. The PMC is all about community, relationships, and impact. Your passion and your efforts literally fund the life-saving work of the doctors and researchers at Dana-Farber and enable them to take care of patients and develop treatments and cures for cancer. And our $70 million goal is just so critical to this work. It is my pleasure tonight to welcome this evening's three speakers, each of whom has a meaningful story to share. Dr. Toni Choueiri, known around the Institute to his patients as Dr. Wonderful, is a 6-year PMC rider, and you guessed it, a founding member of Team More Cowbell. Toni is the director of the Lank Center for Genitourinary Oncology and the co-leader of the Kidney Cancer Program at Dana-Farber, Harvard Cancer Center, and Harvard Medical School. He is a widely published physician scientist whose research and clinical trials have improved the lives of patients with genitourinary cancers, including kidney cancer. Living proof and 10-year rider Mark Arpin is an Army veteran who flew jets and helicopters all over the world and is now a pilot and aviation manager. His entire family is part of the PMC community, riding, volunteering, and fundraising together for the last decade. And Danielle Arpino will be riding her 4th PMC this year in honor of her amazing dad. Danielle teaches middle school math, a job that is surely harder than riding a bike 192 miles. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Wonderful.
Great. Thank you for being here. I'm not the first to thank you. So I'm a physician at Dana-Farber, so I treat patients. Many of you are here today, my patient, other doctors, patient, and I'm a physician scientist, so I do research, therefore I'll be the only one that have PowerPoint. That's the way how we communicate. So bear with me a bit. I put some slides, and what I want to show you here, so I do genitourinary cancers, mostly kidney cancer, one of the top 10 cancers, but I can tell you, and we have many doctors I've seen here, many friends of me, physician scientists, for their cancer. I saw Corey, who does leukemia, Jim, who does Merkel cell. I've seen others, and David is here. He does one of the most difficult cancer, glioblastoma. They can come here and do the same for their cancer, because we tend to get very specialized. So let me tell you a bit about the thing I do, but you could generalize this to all the cancer the physician do here. So a bit about Dana-Farber, and Josh mentioned it, but let me tell you some of the numbers. So if you look at the FDA-approved cancer drugs, and whatever the FDA approves, they approve devices, they approve antibiotic, they approve COVID vaccine. Most of the approval by far is cancer medicine compared to everything else. I don't have the number, but it's probably around 50%. And 1 out of 4 Dana-Farber have been involved in, and when you say involvement, it's usually leading or co-leading this. So that's an example. We are also at the Farber and in Boston, kind of entrepreneurial. Around more than 50 biotech out of Dana-Farber came. If you look at clinical trial, and we're talking therapeutic clinical trials, not just collecting specimens, collecting blood, but just giving a drug, at any time over 1,100 clinical trials. Now you may say, look, are patients happy? Well, we think they're very happy. Joe said we're the best cancer center in the world, but if you look at satisfaction rate, we're over 97%. And on and on and on. The one thing that sticks always when I tell, funders and, benefactors like you, if we want to look at the amount of research granted by the National Institute of Health and the National Cancer Institute, we are, on general, per investigator, 2 times more than the second that comes. And these are numbers. So this is something, and the numbers don't lie. And I know I came to the Farber, we were 3,000, we're over 5,000 now. It's like, tell us about the kidney. We don't understand. We don't know where the kidneys are. We know we have 2 kidneys. So let me tell you a bit about kidney cancer. I've been focusing on since 2007. One of the top 10 cancers, so kind of important. The problem with kidney cancer is that it refers to many types of cancers. Some of the cancers of the kidney are slow growing. You don't want to overdo it. Some of them are very aggressive. Some respond to therapy. Others do not respond to therapy. And that's what attracted to me to kidney cancer. You almost never can predict what kidney cancer can do. Then the biology of the kidney cancer in general is poorly understood. For example, in kidney cancer, chemotherapy you receive, the one, the hair goes away. Some lose it different ways. But in kidney cancer, chemotherapy doesn't work. Hormonal therapy doesn't work. And certain forms of kidney cancer are so rare that we are a major referral center to kidney cancer. And we have really no biomarker. I sometimes give 1 treatment, 2 treatment based on the fact that the response rate is 30%. I can never know who's going to respond and not respond. So since I came to the Farber, I put these 4 priorities in, and I'm going to get you, since I have 20 minutes, 10 minutes more than you, Billy. I bet you this is the last time I get invited. So I'm going to focus on the novel drug, especially immunotherapy, on some of the very interesting areas, and we do that research. Today I emailed Jim, one of our Starr physician scientists, about some of the research about liquid biopsies and how we work with his lab, and then tell you a bit about rare kidney cancer and why it's important that you invest in people like me, but people also that I will mentor so they will be the next physician scientist. So let me tell you a bit about immunotherapy. You heard a lot about immunotherapy. When I came to the Farber and with everything, I said to myself, there is 2 ways to do immunotherapy and drug development. The first way, this is too hard for me, cancer cells, each cell is totally different. That's why the COVID, the SARS-CoV-2 gets sequenced quickly, the genome, and you get a vaccine, and you solve this. Doesn't happen with kidney cancer. I know, David, how much you've been working on the vaccine. Said, okay, I'm not. This drug works 30%, the other one 20%, this 15%. I'm going to find the optimal dose and give 3, 4, 5 of them. That worked, but that's not ideal. Toxicity happened. The other way I'm going to show you is to do something a bit smarter, where we do really some smart things. So first, and we are there, and you're going to see why we're there and why my good friend Mark is on a trial. We said, let's combine this drug. And I think this really worked very well. These are some of the good journals as scientists and physicians we published in while we combine multiple drugs together, and these have led to changing the guidelines in patients with metastatic kidney cancer. The second way that we're working on is like, no, let us get smart here. So we benefited here from technologies developed with Dr. Wu at Dana-Farber and others, and applied it to kidney cancer, knowing it's been applied to others. But kidney cancer is immunogenic. Therefore, one of these studies, we said to ourselves, okay, we're going to resect all kidney cancer that we see. But we know in some situation the risk of the cancer coming back based on their stage, based how they look ugly under the microscope, that's the grade, etc., is around 70 to 80%. And in kidney cancer, unlike other cancer, we cannot do anything. There is no therapies that prevent this from coming back. In breast cancer, you get chemo. In colorectal cancer, you get chemo, etc. So what we did was this technology developed at Dana-Farber. You take the tumor, you sequence it, meaning you look what are the mutations, the different thing compared to normal tissue, and then you sit, and this was one of the most painful meetings I used to have, weekly, with folks that do some sort of what we call computational biology, and I'm not going to explain what that is, but they can predict among the cancer, epitope, which one are the one that can elicit the most immune response. And of course, this is based on significant databases and work in the lab, etc. Then you take the top 20 of them and you make a drug. Yes, you make a drug. You inject it to the patient and you give other immunotherapy too. We finished that trial. The 16-patient trial cost $1 million, funded by you. This cannot be funded. You need the preliminary data to go somewhere else and get a big grant. This was funded. None of the patients so far recurred. We followed David's example that he did with GBM. This is some of the data I love to show for the couple of physicians here. So we took biopsies of the skin after the vaccine, and look here between left and right. Those are the immune cells, and there are 100 types of immune cells. Each one has a different color. You know how they come to the skin. And here, I love to show this, is that when we added some immunotherapy, certain type of immune cells that can recognize the cancer cells and have a significant memory went up. Now, is that going to mean that the cancer is not? But we started seeing, all this. And another example, I'm sure you all heard about CAR-T. CAR-T, 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 everything is CAR-T. But you don't know, perhaps, and I didn't know since my immunology classes, there are several other immune cells type. One of them is the NK, and NK stands for natural killer cell. Natural killer cell have a lot of advantages over the T cell. They fight cancer, they fight infection, they don't need to be trained, they go on the attack before T cell, and I'm talking like that with some of the best immunologists that knows leukemia cells and cancer cells, like my friend Corey Cutler somewhere. So Corey, excuse me. But the problem was that they do not have immunological memory, and their half-life is very short. They can't remember. So with one of our friends here, Riz Romy, who's a rising star in the NK cell therapy, that's what he does. He's not yet a rider. So I'm all over him to say when, and he's always on a plane. Not yet a rider. Rizwan have legs. He does have legs, so I don't know why he's not a rider. On the other hand, Vincent, Dr. Zhu, who's in my division, I'm his boss, is a rider. The poor guy. So what Riz discovered in the lab, if you mix these NK cells with what we call cytokine, interleukin 12, 15, 18, their half-life become very prolonged. And he took that to leukemia, and we started seeing complete responses, even in heart cancer. And the NK cells are very prevalent in kidney cancer, so we're trying to repeat that in kidney cancer. And we received, actually, a huge donation from a PMC rider to start enrolling the first 5 patients. Now, let me tell you, Dana-Farber, yes, we want to focus on the big cancer, prostate, that's great. But one of the advantages of being a referral center is that we see a lot of rare cancers. So to us, these are not rare. For example, 20% of all the kidney cancers, and there are a couple of thousand a year, come to Dana-Farber. They're very rare, and they happen in younger people. So one of them is called translocation kidney cancer, especially younger female here. So we teamed up and start doing combination and a lot of new drugs in this rare form of kidney cancer. Luckily, a lot of people were in my division, so I can tell them gently that this is need to be done. So I want to welcome here my good friend and Dr. Brad McGregor in GU. He's a writer. He's focused on rare form of kidney cancer. And he's a, he's a colonel in the Air Force. This type of thing. Some of the best scientists here we have, even Dr. Van Allen Feldbat, he's a virtual rider, and my postdoc, who's now a Brigham intern, and he will never be a rider in his life. Liquid biopsy. You probably heard about liquid biopsy. One of the best scientists I met, one of my best friends, Matt Friedman, who's a physician scientist also. With kidney, one of the things about cancer is you get the tissue, the cancerous tissue, you get the blood. But one of the things with the cancers of the kidney and the bladder, also you collect urine, because urine has a lot of information. So we came up with a test that was one of the things with kidney cancer is that for whatever reason, like brain cancer, these two, they do not shed much cancer cells in the circulation. So you have to go to a level of sequencing so deep that very few people know it. Till we did that study, and we published it in one of the good journals here, where we predicted that kidney cancer can be present in the blood. That's not a marker. That's looking at changes in the epigenome. So we can't go after the DNA itself, it doesn't shed, but we can go after the epigenome. Think about it around the DNA here. And we're taking this to the next level, and we're able to do that because of your investment, because we have a center for translational research that started over 20 years ago, where we collect these specimens. These are all colleagues of mine at the Farber, their clinical research coordinator in my lab, that focus on collecting and consenting patients and connecting the clinical information of the patient with the blood and the tissue and the urine is a massive operation. The NCI doesn't fund this, like this infrastructure 100%. This is uniquely funded by philanthropy. We have 8,000 patients consented fully to everything, including blood and tissue, and we have their information longitudinally in EPIC, the medical records that the most lovely for physicians. So this is the gap. I know I have 20 minutes. The gap here in kidney cancer that I'm trying to solve, the next step, is to have better animal models. So one of the things with kidney cancer, we don't have an animal model we can test. They don't replicate the human kidney cancer behavior. And the big thing is that there are totally different type of kidney cancer. We don't know who respond to what. But one good thing that happened in kidney cancer is that now, and I'm going to show you a slide. I'm going to show you a slide where how much kidney cancer patient with stage 4 lived when I finished med school, and I didn't finish med school a long time ago, okay? And to now, so now we have a lot of survivors from the therapies for kidney cancer, et cetera. And we have postdoc now, I would never dream about that, focused on aging and survivorship in kidney cancer. And why is that? Because of philanthropy. Because of your dollar, we can do this work, and we can invest not just in kidney cancer research. I do kidney cancer. I don't understand many other cancer, but also in leukemia, in Merkel cell gym, in many other things we can do. In brain cancer that takes the life of many people every year. And we need the space, the technology, but we need to invest in talent and physicians all over the world so that I can have moments like this. This is my partner, one of our best friends here, Dr. Bill Kalin, worked with him for a long time. This is a great morning where I called my mom, at 4 in the morning, at 5 in the morning, like deep breaths, like, let it go. I work with him, he got in all that, and she's like, what, you did? Oh my God, son. And investing in people, why it's so important, we do. And every physician at the Dana-Farber has that. Those are my mentees, the folks that became as oncologists, most of them, independent all over the United States and outside the United States that trained with our team at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute all over the world and are doing beautiful things. Some of them are still at Dana-Farber. Now, this is not just, single effort. We are around 10% of the institute. We are 25 folks, physicians, focused on genitourinary cancer, kidney, bladder, prostate, and testicular cancer. Here we had a retreat in January, the only time we're not traveling. And actually, 24 made it to the retreat. No COVID, nothing except one person. And we were able to put that person, cut them and put them in the picture, and you will never know who that person is. It's done professionally, but 24 people made it. And finally, picture 1,000 words, Billy, you are the celebrity, although Emma Lovewell from Peloton did it, and I was able to snap that picture. One of the issues I have with the PMC, it's almost every year taking the wrong turn. I end up at Joe's Auto Repair here on the left. Here I missed a turn where we had bagels, etc. the year before, so the year after, there were signs. I get off the bike just to say hi to people, and thankfully my brother-in-law is here, Mark Mombo, to the rescue all the time. I'm glad to have you, have Team Cowbell here, and have my wife, Sue. The PMC, to me, is a family affair, and that's what makes it beautiful. Some people lose their life, some people continue, but we cannot stop here. This is my family. This is Sam, my son, who's now 12. Sam was late in riding a bike. It was a big problem for us. Still, the PMC for kids. And he did it. This is Sue here. This is my first, if you remember Josh from the PMC night, the first time where I gave a speech. That's you. See how the kids were small and nice? They're not anymore. This is our team. This is our table, Team More Cowbell. And this is me throwing the first pitch. After that, we have Larry here, Larry Lucchino. My phone still is on. I didn't get one single call to play for any MLB team. But this is why we do what we do. When I was training in Cleveland, when I said I want to do kidney cancer, it's just interesting. Whenever I think of something, the result is always different. So it's consistently wrong. So it's consistent. This is what people live. That's what we call the average, the median for survival. 1999, about to finish med school. This is my training. Look at the median survival of stage 4 kidney cancer, and that's an average. That's an average. People beat that. And why? Because of all you in the Picasso ballroom tonight. And because of you, my good friend, my patient, my hero, Mark Arpino, can stand with his daughter and his other daughter and wife here and tell you his story. Thank you.
What a guy. Thank you, Dr. Choueiri. Thank you. If any of you are looking for an oncologist, I got a guy. I'm Mark, as you heard, PMC writer, former heavy hitter, and Dr. Choueiri's patient. I'm here tonight to tell you how PMC, Dana-Farber, the Jamie Fund, and you have helped me so much. My first ride was in 2014. My cousin asked me to ride in support of his wife and daughter who had been treated for cancer at Dana-Farber. Of course, he only asked me in July, and I hadn't been on a bike in 30 years. But I thought it was a good idea at the time and a nice way to support the family, so off I went. It was a great success, and I became hooked on PMC. But what I didn't know was how joining the PMC community would impact my life years from then. Over the next several years, our team grew. My wife volunteered, one of my daughters volunteered, another daughter rode. Year after year, one of my siblings joined the team. At one point, I think we had 10 family members riding, which really put a pinch on the fundraising. But I enjoyed riding. I looked forward to training all summer, and of course, I enjoyed PMC weekend. I used to tell my fellow riders, it's supposed to be hard. Our ride is supposed to emulate the struggle of someone battling cancer. But in June of 2020, everything changed. It was Father's Day weekend, and my girls came down and said, Dad, let's go for a run. And I thought, oh boy, you guys are in your 20s. All right, let's go. I got back to the house and went to the men's room, and things weren't right. There was a lot of blood where there shouldn't have been any. So I called my primary care physician. He sent me to the emergency room. I ended up at St. Elizabeth's in Brighton. I thought I'd pass a kidney stone and be home for dinner reservations. But within 30 minutes of being there, the doctor came out and took my hand, and I thought, oh boy, here we go. And he said, I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm 90% sure you have kidney cancer. Well, I spent 2 weeks there. Lost at least one kidney and, 10 pounds of other necessary organs. And while I was there, I was doing all sorts of research, Googling stuff, trying to learn more about my situation. And the data that I was seeing was pretty alarming. I thought I was going to die. I remember thinking about my kid's future without me. Did I want to be buried? Did I want to be burnt? Where the hell are all those passwords? But the hardest part was thinking about my wife, my college sweetheart. Being alone. I remember telling her to find a nice guy and move on. Don't think about me. Live your life. Anyway, I eventually made it home, and it was awesome. It was July, it was warm, but it was COVID, and people were scared to come and visit me because they knew I was struggling. But I had such a support system of family and friends. When the kids came over, they'd stay in a tent in the yard because I didn't want to come in the house. So as PMC weekend neared, it was the reimagined year, if you remember. For me, it was PMC never imagined, but I knew I couldn't ride that year. I was still having a hard time walking. However, the fundraising went through the roof that year. But on PMC weekend, my team surprised me. They showed up at our house with flags and banners and T-shirts, and it was an incredible show of support. They gave me a living proof T-shirt, and I thought, I'm not worthy of wearing this. I haven't even started treatment yet. But seeing that support made me think, I'm a PMC rider. I know what to do when the going gets rough. I'm a cyclist. I go forward, I roll on. And that's when I decided to be strong and aggressive in my treatment. That's when I decided to commit to curing myself. So while considering treatment options, Dr. Allison O'Neill, who had been my little cousin's oncologist and who we had been riding with over the years, said, "You've got to get hold of Dr. Choueiri." So I did, and it was the best decision I ever made. I'm so glad I made that decision. I mean, he's not a great rider, but he knows an awful lot about checkpoint inhibitors. His team wasted no time getting me enrolled in a clinical trial that combined immunotherapy and chemotherapy. There were, setbacks and complications and side effects, much like you would expect. I went from a guy who never took an Advil to having that for breakfast every morning. The immuno portion ended after a couple of months. I still take the chemo to this day. The last couple of years have been a wild ride. But it's the community of Dana-Farber, Jimmy Fund, PMC. They've been a source of inspiration for me, a source of hope. I needed to ride in 21 and 22. I needed a sense of normalcy. I needed to be part of something bigger, something greater, something important. My rides weren't like they used to be, where I was dragging people. Now I was the anchor on the team. But it was okay, we got it done together. To me, my battle with cancer and riding PMC are a convergent course to cure cancer for everybody. And we're getting there. You just heard Dr. Choueiri talk about his successes at Dana-Farber. And I got a little secret about Dr. Choueiri. They got a lot more great people like him at Dana-Farber. There's a lot going on there, and we're all fortunate to be part of it. As for me, when I first started the treatment, we were talking about tens of masses, or I like to call them spots of cancer throughout my body that we were measuring in centimeters. 3 weeks ago, I scanned, and we're talking about a handful of spots, and we measure them in millimeters. So my story's not that different than so many other people suffering with cancer, or that different from so many people who we've lost. But it is also a story about you, the heavy hitters. You all are the drivers of PMC impact on cancer survivability. Thank you. I need to thank my wife for her relentless support and care. My family, my friends, of course, Dr. Choueiri and his team, the nurses, doctors, researchers, technicians, the parking lot attendants at Dana-Farber who know my name. It's an unbelievable institution. I'm so happy to be there. I mentioned my two daughters. They're wonderful girls. Over the past couple of years, they've shown amazing strength and care. They've always been there for me. Thank you, Jessica. And thank you, Danielle, who's here tonight with a few comments. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle. I'm going to be riding in my 4th Pan Mass Challenge this coming summer, and the 3rd, thank you, and the 3rd since my dad was diagnosed. I have to say before I get started that it's hard getting up here and not just being super overly emotional. First, just from hearing my dad put into words the struggle he's been through the last couple of years, but also from watching all of you and the incredible amount of support that you just gave him and love while he shared such a personal part of our life with you. So before I get started, thank you so much for giving us the chance to come up here tonight. Now, as you know from my dad, the last few years have been very difficult for my family, and a lot of you, unfortunately, can relate to our story. Either you might know what it's like to deal with and live with the battle that my dad just described, or you may understand what it's like to watch a loved one go through it. From my own experience, there's no worse feeling than watching the person you love most in this world suffer. I remember feeling so helpless when my dad was diagnosed and just wishing every day I could trade places. I told myself I wasn't going to do this. It's happening. I remember, thank you. I remember feeling like there was nothing I could do to improve his circumstance and nothing I could do to help him. But very soon after my dad started receiving treatment at Dana-Farber from Dr.Choueiri and his team, I realized that there is something I can be doing that helps with my dad's situation and is making an enormous impact to many others as well. And that is riding the PMC with all of you. My family is lucky enough to be one that has seen firsthand the incredible work being done at Dana-Farber. And I still can't even wrap my head around how lucky we are that my dad was placed under the care of Dr. Choueiri, who has made such unbelievable strides in kidney cancer research and treatment and still continues to do so. Compared to the statistics that we were reading online when my dad was first diagnosed, my family and I all feel so hopeful and so thankful for the progress that we've seen him make so far. But none of this progress would be possible without the Pan Mass Challenge and all of you here tonight. The PMC has been part of my whole family for a while now. My dad's been riding for 10 years now. A lot of my aunts, uncles, cousins have. But since my dad has become a patient at Dana-Farber, the Pan Mass now has a whole new meaning to us. We not only appreciate it, but we also depend on it. And that is why after my dad was diagnosed, I found it to be so important to sign up again and ride for him. But it hasn't just been me signing up since then. Many of our other family members have, and actually so has my dad. Like he said, he did unfortunately miss the reimagined year. That was just a few months after he was first diagnosed. But my dad believed in this cause so much that just 1 year after being diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer, my dad hopped back onto his bike again and he rode the Pan Mass Challenge. It's amazing. I mean, at the time, my dad was taking a huge dose of chemo and had just suffered from a pretty major complication involving the blood thinner he was on. But he was still so determined to get it done that he ended up mapping out the entire Wellesley to P-Town route, and he planned it out so that he could do a small chunk of the ride each day throughout the week leading up to the Pan Mass. And he left it, and by the way, with the help of my mom, who rode him around everywhere, picked him up, dropped him off. But he saved the last few pieces of the ride for the actual 2 days of Pan Mass so that he could start and finish each day with us. And so that year, my dad and I were able to finish the ride together, holding hands through the finish line. And then, the following year, which was last year, my dad said, you know what, let's get this thing over with, let's get it done, mind over matter. And so he set all of his pain aside, and he ended up biking the entire ride in 2 days, while quite literally stopping at rest stops to pop his chemo pills. That was last year, so he's incredible. My dad has always been the hardest worker that I know, and he's never given up easily on anything that he sets his mind to. But the way that he's rode the last 2 years was really a metaphor in my eyes for how he has tackled his battle with cancer. Always looking ahead towards the finish line, charging through it, getting it done, and doing everything in his power to get better. For everything that he's been through the last 3 years and the amount of perseverance that he's shown throughout his cancer battle and through the rides the last 2 summers, I've never been more proud of him. But like I said before, my family is just one of many who are being positively impacted daily by the funds raised through the Pan Mass Challenge. We are one example of so many that you are helping. It's because of you that the hardworking doctors at Dana-Farber, like Dr. Choueiri, are able to continue researching better treatments and cures for all types of cancer. It's because of you that people like my dad are receiving the care and the treatment that they need, and it's because of you that my family, along with so many others, see so much hope and promise for the future. Together, all of us in this room tonight are making an incredible difference, and you are the reason my dad has been able to make the progress that he's made so far. So from the bottom of my heart, all I can say is thank you for riding, thank you for working so hard to fundraise, and thank you for continuing to do what you do. Let's make this year's PMC ride the most successful one yet. Thank you so much.
You're going to get off stage. Well, I'll thank you anyway. Danielle and Mark, thank you for sharing your story. Mark, pretty true grit, man. You're amazing. What a wonderful family you have. Meredith and Josh, thank you. I've seen you through the years, and I never stop having trepidation of what joke's going to come at my expense. It's all good. And I'm just going to digress for 1 second. Toni, you know, hearing your story, watching your slides, Toni, it just reminded me how I took a permanent U-turn away from science. Anyone grow up in the Newton school system here? Yeah. Well, when I was there, it was top 3 school systems in the country. And in my day, we were told to get to college, you had to take 3 achievement tests. So, you know, we're a little more irreverent. Everyone, you know, spends a fortune on their kids. My parents said goodbye in the morning, said hello at night. Nonetheless, so, you know, I'm on my own. I've taken math, I'm taking English, I'm okay at both. But I'm stuck. What am I going to take for my 3rd achievement? I decide, throwing at a dartboard, I'm going to take chemistry. Now I'm in Curriculum 2 chemistry, which we refer gently as chemistry for dummies. And you know, when I went in to take the test, you know, remember you got 200 points for signing your name? And I pretty much went like this through the test. On Monday morning, I went into my class, and my class was taught by a gentleman named Mr. Verdun. Alsatian, very dry, hadn't smiled in 20 years. You know, hair slicked back. He was brutal. He overhears me telling my story to my friends, and I had taken the chemistry achievement test. And he looks at me and he goes, Starr, you took chemistry? I said, yes, sir, Mr. Verdun, I did. He looked at me and said, Starr, you might as well have taken Greek. Which is pretty much, I said, yes, sir, that's pretty much how I felt. And so what I'm saying to most of the 98% in this room, aren't we glad that we're on the funding side of this? I mean, I'm looking at Toni's slides, and I'm going, Jesus Christ, if I were in the lab, nobody gets out alive. So, but thank God I found a place for myself, same as you all. I can ride a bike, I can listen, I can learn marginally, and I can fund the greatest institute in the world right here in Boston with the greatest people in the world. And as importantly, I don't think it gets said enough because we throw a lot of numbers about who's best, who's biggest, and I like it because we are best and biggest. But Dana-Farber's not biggest in class, but you got to know that what they do gets exported globally. Think about it. The impact is obviously beyond Boston and the United States. I remember listening once to a presentation from Larry Summers where he said, within 2 square miles of where we are is like 90% of the brain power in the world. It made an impression. And I am so glad I live here. I'm so glad I do what I do. And I'm so glad that the work we do benefits Dana-Farber and that the work that they do helps create a better quality of life for people who suffered like Mark and his family and who all turned it into the most positive of stories. And we just keep doing what we do, regardless of circumstances. So thank you all for being a great audience tonight. Hang out. Anybody got a Bruins score? Anybody got a Bruins score? What do we got? 3-2, what period? Who's winning? Okay. That was going to be my punchline. All right, folks, thank you all. Have a great rest of the evening. Get on your bikes. We'll see you all soon. Thank you very much.